Hello, I'm Donald Leggett and welcome to the latest Focus IR London South East CEO interview. I'm joined today by Cedric Simonet and he's the CEO at Altona Rare Earths. Welcome, Cedric.
Thank you, Donald, and thank you for having me.
It is a true pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us on London South East today. Now, Altona Rare Earths, for those who are less familiar with Altona, can you explain who you are and where exactly in the world that you're exploring and developing?
All right. So Altona is a British PLC company. We are listed on the London Stock Exchange since June 2023. Our ticker is REE, which is very suitable for a rare earth company. We were previously listed on the Aquis Stock Exchange, and Altona had a rather long history, but since 2020, we've been implementing a rare earth strategy focused on Africa. So initially, we reviewed a number of projects in various countries, including Malawi and Uganda. And then in 2021, we settled on the Monte Muambe rare earth project, which is located in northwest Mozambique. So let me tell you a little bit more about Monte Muambe. Historically, Monte Muambe had always been considered to be a fluorite project. But in 2012, the company which was holding the project at the time and doing exploration reported a few interesting intercepts with rare earths. And the grades ranged from 2 to 4% TREO, that's total rare earth oxide, the sum of all the rare earth elements. So that looked quite good. When we took over the project, again back in 2021, we started to check what could be the lateral extension of these intercepts and ultimately what the tonnage could be. And we were not disappointed, basically. Within about a year, we had identified two significant ore bodies, which we call Target 1 and Target 4, and we had published an exploration target estimate. So I'm not going to take you through all the figures of the exploration target estimate, but the most important part, in my opinion, is the high-grade zone of that exploration target estimate. The tonnage ranged from 6 to 11 million tons, and the grades were between 2.4 and 2.5% TREO. And these high-grade zones are going to form the base of our Maiden Mineral Resource Estimate, which is going to be published next month.
Talking of positive drilling results, you've just recently published some more from Monte Muambe. I think it may be from Target 3. So tell us more about that.
All right. So the drilling we've been doing recently was both on Target 4 and on Target 3. The objectives were different. On Target 4, we were doing infill drilling, and we were trying to define more precisely the envelope of the high-grade ore body, the contacts of this high-grade ore body. As we were doing this, we had a record intercept with an impressive 76 meters from the surface down to almost the bottom of the hole, with an average grade of over 3.4% TREO. So that was a record for Monte Muambe. It's always very nice, very exciting when you have a record hole like this. Of course, this hole is just going to become part of an entire data set, which will go into the resource model for Target 4. But it continues to affirm the very favorable geometry of the high-grade ore bodies at Monte Muambe. These ore bodies are very consistent. That's important because it will make mining very straightforward. And then at Target 3, the objective was different. We were doing follow-up on a target which we discovered in 2021. At the time, we had intercepted 9 meters at 6% TREO, so very high grade, but the length was not very, very big yet. And we had kept this target for later exploration. So that's what we are doing now. We are drilling there to check the lateral extension of this 6% intercept, and we've just hit 30 meters from surface once again at 2.7% TREO. This is very encouraging because what it tells us is that beside Target 1 and Target 4, which we know very well now, there is still a lot of potential to increase our resource base of high-grade ore, and that's what we are going to do through continuous exploration.
Okay, Cedric, so you're working towards your Maiden JORC. Presumably you don't quite know what it is yet, but if you could talk around that Maiden JORC for us, give us a sense of the size you hope it might be and how significant that is for the business.
All right. So as I said, the exploration target range was between 6 and 11 million tons, with grades between 2.4 and 2.5% TREO. After we did the exploration target, we continued drilling specifically on the high-grade zone at target 1, both along strike and down deep. So what we are expecting, based on the modeling we've done and based on the results of the exploration target, is that we're probably going to be somewhere around 20 million tons with grades at around 2.5% TREO, which would be very good because, as we've seen already, this would be potentially the right size for a mining operation. Now, the important thing with this mineral resource estimate is that for the first time we are going to have a clear certified estimate of the tonnage and the grade of rare earths at Monte Muambe. And it's not going to be just the total rare earth oxide, the TREO percent, but it's also going to be individual elements like neodymium, praseodymium, terbium and dysprosium, all these magnet metals which are present in abundance at Monte Muambe. And more importantly, this mineral resource estimate is going to come with a scoping study. And that is going to give us a first pass indication of the potential viability of the project, which is very important. This scoping study is going to help our current and future investors to compare the Monte Muambe opportunity with other investment opportunities and to understand the solidity of our value proposition. And for us, the scoping study is going to be also very important to design the pre-feasibility study work plan to be as efficient as possible and make sure we can fast track this project, which is one of our objectives.
Okay, 20 million tons. If you're used to iron ore, that may not seem like much tonnage, but presumably rare earths concentrates are very high value items.
Yes, rare earth concentrates are very high value items. So when you look at a rare earth project, the tonnage is important, as we've seen, and we've seen that the definitive feasibility study of many of the currently advanced projects are somewhere between 20-30 million tons. So we know we already have the right size. But we are not going to chase tons and to waste time and resources just drilling for the sake of drilling. We are going to focus on the high-grade ore bodies. We know we have the right size of project, and we're going to focus on what we think is the most likely to be mineable, again, in order to fast-track the project towards development and production. Now, grade and tonnage is not everything. Rare earth projects are notoriously very complex. Each project is actually different. You mentioned prices, that's an important thing, but another important parameter for rare earth projects is the metallurgy. And the metallurgy has a very high impact on both the capex and the opex, and it also determines what sort of product we will be able to make on site in Mozambique at Monte Muambe. So currently, as far as we are concerned, we put a lot of emphasis on metallurgical studies, the ones we are doing now in the frame of the scoping study, and the ones we are going to do once we start the PFS, because that will have a very high importance for the project.
Okay. You're at Monte Muambe in Mozambique, and investors may not know a lot about Mozambique. How can you reassure investors about a jurisdiction such as Mozambique?
All right. The first thing is that Mozambique is a very big country. We are located in a part of Mozambique called the Tete province, and it's actually a mining region of Africa, a developed mining region of Africa. Right around the area where Monte Muambe is, there are 4 operating coal mines, 3 of them being very large ones. There is a large iron ore and steel project. There are several gold mines. There are gemstone mines. So you have infrastructure. You have the Cahora Bassa hydropower dam, which is located just next door. And you also have equipment suppliers, you have service suppliers, you have trained human resources. So it's really a mining region of Africa. Now, Mozambique as a whole may not be the first country in Africa that comes to your mind when you think about mining, but it's still a relatively mature mining country. The mining law dates back to 2014, so it's quite recent. It has been operationalized. The government is issuing licenses. It's issuing prospecting licenses. We did not have any problems to renew ours. And it's also issuing mining licenses at a relatively early stage in the life of the project. That's very useful to de-risk projects, and we intend to take advantage of this. Now, in terms of country risk, you might have heard about insurgency issues in the northeast tip of Mozambique, an area called Cabo Delgado. And we are actually very, very far from this. We are about 900 kilometers from this in a straight line. And if you wanted to go along this straight line, you would have to leave Mozambique, go into Malawi, and then back into Mozambique, because Malawi comes a little bit like this in the middle of the top part of Mozambique. So we are in a very, very safe part of Mozambique.
That's very good to know. Okay, which once again takes us to the need for rare earths. Rare earths are needed for magnets which support the transition to green energy, yet they're in short supply. So how does that all fit into a supply chain dominated by China? So there you go, there's a big question for you.
Okay, so all analysts agree to say that the existing supply deficit for neodymium praseodymium oxide, which is the key component for permanent magnets, will continue to increase. The deficit will continue to increase over the next 15 years, despite the increase of supply. So the market for NdPr oxide is not going to disappear anytime soon. Now, the supply chain is currently dominated by China, as you rightfully said. But this supply chain is going to be more and more diversified in the future. There are refinery projects in North America, in Australia, in Europe. I was a couple of months ago at the Rare Earth Industry Association conference in Barcelona, and there was already demand from Europe for mixed rare earth carbonate. Mixed rare earth carbonate is a product which is made by mines, it's a mining product, and it's a feed for refineries. So you can see this diversification of the market is already happening. So we are quite confident that we will find our place in this diversified supply chain and that we will not have to depend solely on China. But for us right now, the most important is to see how much transformation we can do in Mozambique. There are different steps, from a mine concentrate to a mixed rare earth carbonate to a partly separated product to refined products. And we want to try to see how much value addition we can do in country. This will have different impacts, positive impacts for the country, obviously, positive impacts in terms of value for our shareholders, but it will also have a big impact on the way we will be able to position ourselves in the market on this supply chain that we've just talked about.
And finally, Cedric, why is now a good time to get Altona Rare Earths on your watch list? Why now?
Okay, so far, Monte Muambe as a project ticks all the boxes. It's in a good location. We are expecting decent tonnages and grades, which will be published in the MRE, which is going to come out next month. The geometry is very consistent. It's favorable for low strip ratio open pit operations. So personally, I believe that Altona is currently significantly undervalued. I'm expecting to see some price readjustment in the near future. I'm talking share price. If you look at our share price and you compare with the share price of some of our peers that are more advanced than us, you can see the upside, and you can definitely understand why now is the time to invest before the share price starts to increase. But Monte Muambe and Altona is not just about share price. The other thing I want to say is that our objective is to take Monte Muambe through development and into production, and that's where the value is. So that's a long-term value proposition, and I believe that's how Altona should be seen by investors.
Okay, that was fascinating. Cedric Simonet, CEO at Altona Rare Earths, REE, ticker REE. Thanks very much indeed for that operational update. For more company information and to access the company bulletin board, please go to the Altona pages on London South East. And meanwhile, do follow us on Twitter. That's at London Southeast, and also at _FocusIR_, or register on London Southeast YouTube to receive alerts to our next Altona interview. Thanks very much indeed for watching.